rhythm of love on floor, deep in my soul. No, I can't be the woman you need me to be. This gypsy road is calling me home. Long cold train, the Sierra plains are finding their way back to me. No, I can't be the woman you need me to be. This gypsy road is calling me home. Telephones are ringing behind me. I'm going where only the wind can find me. I hear the road calling my name. I think it's time for me to go. No, I can't be the woman you need me to be. This gypsy road is calling me home. You.
Woo! How about a little more noise for Tempe Red Hawk, better known as Tempe Red Hawk. Karen Lepo, you may know her, has beautiful, beautiful way to start. What a great way to start a service, a brand new chapter in the life of Unity North. Yes? Are you open and receptive for the movement of Spirit to happen in your heart in such a way that there are miracles that can abound here today that you can't even imagine? Yes, and the same is true for everybody who is watching us online. We want you to know that we are holding that there's a miracle for you happening. Oh, breathe with me. I tell you, my heart is racing. I'm breathing shallow because I'm very, very excited that we are taking the next step to come back together, to be together as family. Did we have some disappointments this week? Yep, we did. And we're figuring it out, and we're figuring it out together. Those of us in the room, those of us that made a decision for whatever reason to stay home. We belong to each other. But you know, it's been quite a journey, 15, 16 months. And I want to begin, before we get into any more music, before we get into anything, to acknowledge some really important people in the life of this ministry. Board, the staff, our chaplains. I'd like the board and the staff to come up, that they may be acknowledged for the hard road that they have had to walk to make decisions for the safety of this congregation. I'd like the board, anybody in the room who's a board member, I know you're here. You told me you were going to be here, and the staff to come on up. They're being so reluctant. They're afraid they might get tomatoes thrown at them. I don't know. But the reality is, these are some of the most courageous. These are courageous, strong. Come on up on this. I want everyone to see you, and I want to make sure that they get on camera. These people had to make decisions for the well-being of this community. And it wasn't always popular. It wasn't always easy. But we stood as a unified front of family, of community, of church to say we're going to make the decisions we need to make. And, you know, right or wrong, they deserve our applause. So let's make some noise, Unity North, online and in the room. Thank you so so much for your ongoing support of those of us in leadership and the decisions that we have to make. That support is important. I'm going to share a little bit more about that, but I would like to give either Diane Glenn or our board chair, Jenny Langer, a chance to say something if you'd like.
Good morning, Unity North family. It is so great to see your shining eyes. Hey, we'd all like to be here healthy and in a very safe environment. And we appreciate you understanding that there are medically fragile members of our community who want to be here today, and we honor them. We also honor the children and the young people that we've invited back into our home who are downstairs and who don't have availability of the virus vaccine. So thank you all for honoring those members of our community and taking the simple step of being here today with your mask. It's not a political statement. It's a statement of love. Amen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You. And then our business manager, Diane Glenn, has also been the right hand, left hand of these decisions that we've been making.
Thank you. I just want to say it's wonderful to be standing up here. It's been, many of you know the journey that I've been on, and I am grateful to be standing here with this group of people who have worked endlessly and tirelessly. We have had, you should be in our meetings sometimes, hearing the conversations that we've had about the decisions that we've had to make. It has not been easy. Really has not been easy. Have to put a mask on again, for me, after everything that we've been through, everything that I've been through personally, it was like, are you kidding? But it's the right thing to do. So, we always go to what is in the best interest of the people that we serve, and we serve you, and you serve us. So these decisions that we make are really hard, but when it all is said and done, it's the right thing. What is the right thing to do? And I want to say thank you to each and every one of these people standing up here, and to Richard for listening and for supporting and for having the hard decisions to make. Because in the end, look at all of you sitting here in this room today. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting us.
And so it was mentioned, our kids are back. We made a decision to have the kids come on back. We're going to rebuild with our whole kids program. Families are back and able to be here after a very long hiatus. I'm going to invite you to stomp on the floor, make a little noise, and send all the love that we have in this room to those down below, the youngest members of our congregation, filled with love. We stand together in unity and in love. And that's our first song Julie's going to lead us in. It was written by Will Hodge, and we're celebrating Songfest, which is happening on Friday. But this is the first original song. I'm going to invite you, if you know it, to sing like you've never sung it before. And if you don't know it, sing it like you've never sung it before. Welcome to those of you online and right here. We stand together.
So we can have the
unity.
lyrics. There we go. If you want to stand, we've got the lyrics for you. I invite you to sing with us too. Here we go. Unity in mind, unity in spirit. There are many paths to God. Seek and you will find. Listen and you'll hear it. Live in what we've come to believe. We stand together in unity. Many years ago, a vision fell to earth that love will build a place of light. Now we've come to know the message that we heard turned out to be more than right. We sang, we prayed, we laughed and we loved. Then we became the vision we were dreaming of. Unity in mind, unity in spirit. There are many paths to God. Seek and you'll find. Listen and you'll hear it. Living what we've come to believe. We stand together in unity. Reach out, take a and Ryan on the occasion of our 20th anniversary. So that song is all about us. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you, Jeannie, for always making it such a special, special thing. Okay. We always do something low-key right after our high energy, so I'm going to invite you to get still as we now open the day with prayer. Mother, Father, God, as we gather here today, in the room and online, we know the truth and the perfection that is this now moment. We affirm that we are coming home. We are home. Home exists in the spirit, in the heart, in the souls of all who are gathered here in their soul, not a physical place. And so we say thank you, God, for allowing that resilience, that love to continue to shine, to expand beyond these walls, beyond Unity North, beyond everything that is in our human experience. And so we say thank you, God, for allowing that light to shine. And so it is. We say thank you, God. Amen. Okay. So we've got lots of things going, and we're going to get through this fast. It is a full room, though, so I just want to say thank you, and I see people that we haven't seen, so thank you for coming and for being resilient, and as Richard said, for just being able to be, I don't know, I'm trying to say, be able to be who we are and be here in love. So, Songfest, this Friday. Get your tickets out front. Will, Ryan, I mean, these guys and the other two, they just have an amazing stories behind their songs. That is the best part. We have a new information table that is going to be, I want to say, manned and womaned, and you can get your tickets there or online. It's this Friday. Our LGBTQ, do you say plus? LGBTQ plus group is meeting August 8th, 12:45 p.m., room 5. This is the first time they'll be back, and I think it's a sack lunch. Bring your lunch, meet, be in fellowship, and that's both if you identify as LGBTQ or your friends and allies, you're welcome there. Chaplain training, August 14th. We know the power of prayer. We know how important it is to hold that sacred space. We are going to have we do have an official chaplain holding space in this room for the entire service. If you would like to be part of that, if you would like to share that level of prayer and heart, register online August 14th. It's an all-day training, and you can become part of that. Wholeness, we just want to quickly remind you that Wholeness, I believe today, started their new time in their new place. So we're trying to get people to be able to access them, whether you come to first service or second. So they are now, starting today, 10:15 to 11 in the creation room. And if you're an old timer, I think that was room, what was that room? We don't know, 2? But it's across from Holy Grounds. It might say sprinkler room. So they're going to sprinkle you with health and wholeness and energy, and that is where you can find them between 10:15 and 11 every Sunday. And then finally, August 8th, Sunday, at our 9 o'clock service at the Labyrinth, we have a special presentation. Now, I can't read the name from here, these darn glasses. It is...
Sophiana.
Thank you. You have really good eyes. So she'll be at the Labyrinth, and she will be leading in a meditation with song and movement and just being able to help with understanding her Sufi and Mayan experience. So you don't want to miss that, and then you can come to this service. So you get a full day of varying spirituality. And I think that is pretty much it for now.
Good. So on the note of the chaplains, I want to let you know that our chaplains are here holding sacred space throughout the service, your highest and best, and they're available for prayer. Please make yourself available to those things. But I want to say, whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here at Unity North. You're welcome here, you're welcome there, and you are welcome here always. And so we behold the light that you are. You're a gift to us. If you're here for the very first time, if you're visiting with us, well, you're a gift. If you're here for the second or third time, you are a gift to us. We behold the light that you are, and we welcome that gift into our experience, and we hope that your being here is also a gift to you. We're just going to ask that one time you put your hand up in the air so the rest of us can find you a little bit and give you a round of applause. Anybody here for the very first time today? Welcome. Welcome to our home. Welcome to our community. Welcome to our hearts. I want to let you know, if you ever see somebody who's here for the first time, we are instituting a new system. And I'm going to be meeting you. I'd love to meet you in the office right to the left outside the doors for some coffee and just to get to know you a little bit better. Anybody wants information, we've got a team offering that information on the right that Julie mentioned. And then come on downstairs. We are opening Holy Grounds. Yes, Holy Grounds is open. We're going to be mindful, but we're going to have that fellowship that we haven't had for about 16 months. We invite you to join us downstairs, and there's a team to help you all feel welcome down there as well. Lots of changes have been happening to become a more welcoming environment, and Julie's been leading a wonderful team of people, and she's got a few more things she wants to tell you before we go on with the rest of the service.
Thank you. So yes, and we have a welcome team in the sanctuary before service to also welcome you if you've been here just a few times. And so Marilyn Boniger is leading that. So she wants to raise a hand, and anybody who is going to be serving on that sanctuary team, we have those people serving. So yes, you can take a look around. But, yeah, okay, yeah, clap. They've been working really hard. And our ushers, as always, are taking care of the front to greet you, hopefully, when you came in. But here's the thing. If you want to put that slide up again, I'm sorry, we were a little bit late. If you're new, or you're new in the last few weeks, you can take out your phone. We have a new text in church service. That is our number. And you text new to that number to receive information on our community. Now, we're trying very hard to not blow up your inbox, so we're very mindful of that. It is just information that will help you get acclimated on a deeper level. So text new to that number. For the rest of you, there's stuff for you too. And the new person today, you can also text announce if you want information about closings or things for our community that are really important. Text announce, and it's always the same number. And then events, you can text events to get put on the list, and you'll just receive reminders of our big upcoming events with sometimes ticket links and reminders. So this is the first 3 things that we're doing, and so we hope if you want to pull out your phones right now and text, you'll get put on that list, and we hope that's going to give you more communication and more staying with what's going on.
And if you want to know what's going on, and you've been here for 20 years, but you're coming with a new heart and a new mind and a new spirit, go ahead and text new. See what we are doing to make sure that we get everybody who's looking for us into this space and into this space. Right now, I want to get into this space, Tempe Red Hawk. You know, when we were thinking about what music would be appropriate for the opening, for the grand reopening, or maybe not so grand reopening, but just coming back together. And Will Hodge is a master of energy, and he and I, while I was away, were sharing ideas about music, about what would be appropriate and perfect. This song is absolutely the perfect one, and you'll know why when I do the talk today. But please welcome Tempe Red Hawk and Will Hodge singing Before Love Was a Word.
Good morning. It's good to see y'all. Long ago and far away, in a distant time and place, there was peace and mercy. There was hope and grace coming from the darkness. Before a sound was heard, love was there. Before love was a word. Before the stars were hung, before the sun would shine, before oceans gleamed, before mountains climbed, before we walked the earth and breathed its perfect air, love was there. Before love was a word. A tiny newborn finger in the palm of mother's hand stirs a soul to believe there's a grand and holy plan. It speaks of things to come, of who we are and what we were. Love was there before love was a word, before our hearts believed, before we fell from grace, before lonely roads, before grief and pain, before we knew of sin and how his love could save. There was faith before love was a word. And isn't it a blessing that we can rise when we fall? And isn't it amazing that love exists at all? Before the stars were hung, before the sun would shine, before oceans gleamed, before mountains climbed, before we walked the earth and breathed its perfect air, love was there before love was a word. Love was there before love was a word. I love you guys.
Tempe Red Hawk and Will Hodge. Beautiful. Tempe, it's been way too long. Don't make it that far again the next time you sing. What a gift you are. And Will Hodge, I won't cry, but you are a gift to me in this church. Thank you. So, before love was a word, it was an idea. Before love had expression, it was a pure potentiality, a pure possibility alone, living in the ethers, looking for expression. Before the word love was ever uttered, it was unbounded, an unbounded and free energy of divinity longing for itself, longing for its expression. Before love ever found its home, it was a magical and mystical fire that was longing for expression as you, longing for expression as me, longing for expression as us, and yes, longing for expression as Unity North Atlanta. Here we are, poof, bang. I was reluctant to use the words big bang in the same sentence with the word love, but the reality, that's what it was. In the beginning, love had a self-contemplative thought, and out of itself, everything sprang. Before there was anything to see, touch, feel, hear, or know, there was love. There was an essence, there was a spirit. And it had a thought, and poof, creation began. And it expanded, and it expanded, and it evolved, and yet here we are. From the beginning of time, which we're not even going to begin to explore, to this now moment, it has been an expression of love from point A to point Z, and then points far beyond anything we can even imagine today. One essence, one power, one light, one goodness. With all its myriad manifestations, it's still love. With all the different opinions and judgments and expressions, it's still love, and we're going to explore that today. Religions call this life force God. Philosophers will call it reality. Some will call it the Tao, Allah. Some call it Great Spirit, first cause, only cause, the essence of all that is. They'll call it life. We at Unity North call it love. And we want to be part of that evolutionary process where we continually give that love expression. That's why we're here. That's why we come together. Before love was a word, there was a thought of love. There was a being of love, a recognition of the love that we are within us. And then our actions are based upon love. Whether we agree with them or not, there's always a love behind it. And we must be mindful that we are defined by something that is at the level of cause, something that is at the level of the inception of life and creation, and not necessarily the outpicturing of the effects. There is no place, foundational to what unity teaches, there is no place, there is no person, there is no experience where this essence does not exist. No exceptions. Everything is based upon a divine idea in the mind of God that was there at the beginning of time and still exists today, even if we have forgotten it. Ernest Holmes is the founder of the religious science movement, and I'm going to invite you to read the way he puts it. Together? God is all life, not some life. God is not some action, but all action. God is all power, not just some. God is pure spirit, filling all space. The spirit, the energy, the source, and the essence behind all matter, all experience is love. God as the love as God is the pure substance that stands under all creation. We use the word substance very mindfully here. Substance, that which is standing underneath the effects. The same with the word understanding. Our ability, the faculty within us to see that which is standing underneath all creation is why we come together. Not to look at the veil, not to look at the fogs and the mists of decisions and actions and opinions and judgments and behaviors. No, we are called to have a Christ-like mind and to look beneath the surface to that which is standing under the substance of all creation, which is love. And if we fail to see it, just because we fail to see it doesn't mean that it's missing. I want you to say that with me. Let's put up the slide together. Just because we fail to see something does not mean it doesn't exist. I want you to feel that. Just because I am blind to the truth and I cannot find God or I cannot find peace or I cannot find love does not mean that it's not there. Another song that Will is probably going to sing on Friday night that he wrote. He's a master songwriter. Listen for the love. If you're not finding love, listen deeper. If you're not seeing it, look deeper. Is it always easy? Is it always easy? I can give you a list of 10 people that is really challenging for me. Listen for the love. Before you were, love was an energy, and I'm going to find it. It's not easy, but it's worth the journey. And let me tell you, my life is more loving, more peaceful, more full, more rich, because I listened at a deeper place. And I didn't judge you by your behavior. And you didn't judge me by my behavior, but somehow in our disagreement, we found that place of common spirit, common truth, common love. That's why we are here. Listen for the love that you have missed, especially when it is hard to find. And mostly when it is hard to find, because you're about to become a greater version of love if you do it. Oh, that's too hard. If that's too hard for you, I'm going to go invite you to find another church where they let you play it easy and they let you play it safe. No judgment about that. Just go find a place. I'm here to challenge you to find a greater capacity to love, to express love, to experience love, to be loved, to taste love, to devour love anywhere you can find it. And if you can't find it, to then dig deeper beneath the surface. That's why we exist. That's why we come together. That's why we were so hungry to be back together in the same room, to feel the love that you are, the love that we are, to feel the divine idea of love in the midst, here, there, and everywhere. Yes? We're looking and we're seeing, but the reality is you can't find love with your eyes and your ears. Those you're looking for the effects. There are plenty of effects of love. You can find them. I'm saying go to a deeper place and start feeling love, feeling God. Before love is spoken, it is an essence. It is a pure substance. before any action that demonstrates love, which is an effect of love, there is the cause, the root of love, the vibrating center of love in itself right here before I speak, before I act, before I do anything. We are called to do that. Come apart for a while is what Scripture tells us. Come apart for a while. Let me get in touch with the love that I am, because if I can't, then I'm going to be judging you from a place that's false. I'm going to be receiving your decisions. I'm going to be receiving your behavior from a place that is false, and I don't want to do that. I owe you more than that, not just as your minister, but as your friend, as your brother. You, as my sister, owe that to the world. Before love was anything, it must live within us. Our job is to feel God as the love in the laboratory of our hearts, our spirits, our lives, our words, our thoughts, our actions, and our deeds. Below the surface of all creation is that divine idea, that divine pattern of perfection. The whole movement is based upon that truth. And if we can't prove it, what are we doing in a unity church? If we can't prove that in our diversity at the level of effects, we cannot find the unity at the level of cause, at the level of love, then let's just pack it up right now. But I'm here because I believe we can do it. I'm here because we have done it. We've been through some interesting times in this church. We're in an interesting time again. We're not rare. Every church is going through an interesting time. Have you noticed? The country's going through an interesting time. I don't want to be among those that forget that we belong to each other. I don't want to be among those that have forgotten that there is love there somewhere, and I'm going to dig with a dogged determination to find it. I don't want to be among those that ignore the divine ideas that brought us to this point. I want to be among those that get us out of whatever hole we happen to be in by finding the divine perfection that exists at the core of you, at the core of us, at the core of the nation, at the core of everything you do is a divine idea. Do I think sometimes it's warped? Sure. Do you think my ideas are sometimes warped? Sure. Do we forget? Do we forget? Guilty as charged. I forget. But my job is to wait. Maybe I'll catch myself 5 minutes after I've forgotten to return to the divine idea of love that I am, the divine idea of love that we are. 5 minutes when yesterday it took 10 minutes, or 10 days, or 10 years. Underneath the surface are divine perfections that we as a collective and we as individuals, we've lost sight of. It happens. We're human beings. I'm not going to ask you to say mea culpa, mea culpa. I'm going to invite you to just be mindful, be awake. I've got some more work to do. We've got work to do or we wouldn't be here. There's still work to be done in Cobb County. There's still work to be done here in these chairs. On this stream, we still got work to do. And so I'm challenging you. I'm throwing a gauntlet down to join me in the work and to be more mindful. But there's divine ideas. What are those divine ideas? Well, we teach in unity. It is health. Is the divine idea of health not present when there is disease in the experience? Anybody that tells you it's not there is lying to you. Health is always there. The divine idea of health is always there. If you're not finding it, look deeper. Listen for the love. Health was there before health was a word. Perfection was there before perfection was a word, and then got intellectualized and spoken and twisted and turned and warped. Prosperity is also a divine idea in the mind of God. And let me tell you, this church, in the midst of not being able to be together, proved that principle. Before, prosperity was an idea. It was an essence. It was a truth. And we as a community dipped into the presence and power of God as a divine idea, and we did well. We did really well, and I'm proud of that. Every person who stood on this stage, everybody sitting here in the chairs today, you are a part of that. Whether you agree with masks or not makes no difference to me. You are a part of the reason this place is still standing, because you allowed yourself to live in the divine idea of love, love of community, love of family. That's what's important to me. Let's get past the effects that we agree and disagree on, and let's get to the level of the cause, and the cause of our health, our power, our life, our prosperity, our goodness, you, me, our faith is all that our ability to know that love was there before any of it was unfolding. And yes, that is the big daddy of all the divine ideas. Love. Today I want to talk about Unity North as a divine idea of love. Unity North, let's say this together. Unity North is a divine idea in the mind of God. And then I'm going to add to that, Unity North is a divine idea of love in the mind of God. Is it sometimes hard to see? Sure. We're human beings trying to find our way home. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I look in the mirror and it's hard to see. Sometimes you look at what's on the stream and it's hard to see. Sometimes decisions are made and it's difficult. But we're not here to have necessarily the easy path to evolution, because those are the people that quit, that want the easy path. But I want to be on the path that causes me and calls me to be more of the love that I am. I want to find the divine idea even when I'm hurting and I'm in pain. I want to find the divine idea of love even when I'm frustrated. We as a community are a divine idea in the mind of God. And I've had a realization. I got a chance, many of you know, to be away for a month. I'm not encouraging you to do that to get in touch with what the divine idea of Unity North is. But I got a chance to look at something. There are people, since the beginning of this church, somewhere in the late 50s, people come, people go. Things change, orders of service change, songs change, leadership changes. That's one thing, right, we can all count upon. Everything's going to change. We have to cooperate with change or fight change, but I think cooperation works a little bit better. Leadership will shift, energies will move, and things will morph. And it's really as simple as the color of the paint on the walls. And let me tell you, we as a beautiful, blessed, diverse community have all kinds of opinions about the color of the paint on the walls. Before blue, green, purple, pink was on the wall, love was a word. But we hear the opinions. Those opinions are important. But sometimes the story that we're telling is a fight about the color of the paint on the walls and not about a romance novel of falling in love with the Christ of our very being, the Christ of our light, the love that we are. Orders of service will shift. That's a light thing. Let me tell you, there's an opinion about that. At one point in the story of Unity North, there was a big argument about whether the minister sat on the platform or sat down there. I don't know about you, but I got way more important things to worry about than where I'm sitting. Physically. Way more important about where I'm standing and sitting emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. We had a town hall in a not too distant past where there was an hour-and-a-half debate and argument about whether we should hug or not hug. What a great problem to have in an environment of love. We beat that dead horse to death, and you all make up your own decisions, because I love you regardless if you choose to hug me or you don't choose to hug me. I love you whether you were vaccinated or you were unvaccinated. I love you whether you are happy with a mask or not happy with a mask, because love was a word before masks. Love was an idea before masks. Love was an idea before vaccinations. Love was and still is an idea before COVID-19 was ever mentioned on the face of the planet. Before any of it happened, there was love. I want to go home to love, regardless of the effect. And yes, there's all kinds of opinions about leadership. Leadership changes in churches. Have you noticed that? And there are a lot more leaders than the ones that we even talk about here. Going back to like 1958, there were a whole bunch of leaders. They come, they go. Staff changes, the board changes. But I'm grateful today for every single one of those people in leadership, because every single one of those people came from a place of love to do what was best to create love in this loving environment. The divine idea that is Unity North, a spiritual community, is more important than the effects. Let us be the cause. As a culture and landscape changes, and it does, and there will be opportunities to release people, to release things, and to receive new ones. To reposition and present ourselves in a new way, because we're an evolutionary community. We're listening to what the culture demands, what the society is calling us to be. This is not your grandmother's church, and I don't make apologies for that. I don't want to be my grandmother's church. I want to be the church that's living love right here, right now. But as it changes, they are merely effects of the divine idea of love, continually asking for expression. And I want to say today, it matters a heck of a lot less what holy book we happen to read from. and what holy prophet we follow. It matters much less about those things and much more that we align with the divine ideas contained in all of them. Every prophet taught love. Every sage taught love. I want to be more concerned with the divine idea they brought to the planet over and over and over again. And my Baha'i friends will say that it's going to keep coming back. There's going to be new prophets because we haven't paid attention to the love. Listen for the love, and maybe we'll get it, and we'll have that great new Big Bang. Oh, love was there all the time, and I couldn't see it. There was love there, and I was too busy warring and fighting and complaining and gnashing of my teeth and to see the love. So it matters much less what books we're following. It matters much more that we devour, eat, honor the love that we were founded in. No matter if we agree with the last 7 ministers that served this church or not. They brought love the way they thought love should be expressed. I want to hold on to the love and not necessarily the manifestation of how they did it. That's what I ask of you. As I fall down, I get back up. I fall down, I get back up. See the love that's being brought to this platform and to this podium. Because that's why I'm here. That's why that board is here. That's why the staff is here. See the love of the people you don't agree with. Because if we don't, we are a house built upon sand, and this place is going to crumble, and it will change yet again. But what I want you to know is that as a divine idea, Unity North cannot and never will be put down. It matters not who's leading. It matters not what kind of music we're playing. It matters a heck of a lot less who's sitting in the chairs and who's not sitting in the chairs. And I see people I haven't seen here for a couple years. I'm so glad that you brought your love back into the room. And I'm so grateful that you left some love here when you left and you decided to come back. It matters way more. The understanding that what God has joined together, no man can put asunder. How many have ever heard that at a wedding ceremony? What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. I don't know if it was purposeful to say man, but we have a tendency to tear things apart more readily than the women. I don't know. I'm going to pay for that price. I'll see you on email tomorrow. But the reality is, what God has brought together, divine ideas are coming from the essence of love since the beginning of time. And when love is created, it cannot be torn apart. I could get up here and screw up. I may be out of a job tomorrow, but I cannot take this place down. Nobody here, masks or no masks, can take this place down. It is a divine idea in the mind of God, and God is way more powerful than anything we say or do. God, as love, is way more powerful than any mistake you've ever made, than any mistake this community has ever made in its history, and there's a long line of them. Any mistake that we're going to make in the future, because we're human beings, we're going to make them. God, as love, is more powerful than any of it. And that's where I want us to live right now, as we have to continually make decisions. I've heard it said that the only Bible that some people will ever read will be your life. Your life. I want to carry that a step further. The only Bible that some people are ever going to read is this community. The only Bible, the only Quran, the only Bhagavad Gita, the only Dhammapada that anybody's going to may read may be this community. They come into our doors and they don't know anything about any of those books, but they're reading us. You as a first-time visitor, you're reading us. Does love exist here? That's way more important to me than what book I happen to be reading from. I can read from 1,000 books, but if love doesn't exist, we don't grow. I can quote 1,000 prophets, but if love doesn't exist here and there, why are we doing it? But if love does exist, nothing can put this place asunder. You know, I had the opportunity when I was gone over the month, a blessed opportunity that I was touched deeply. 2 Bibles made their way into my hands. First of all, it was a recognition from my family that what I do is important, which was very, very healing. The one Bible is quite a bit bigger than this one and quite a bit in bad shapes because it goes back to the 1700s. This one goes back to the 1800s. And I opened up these Bibles, and in the Bible, and this is just a representation, there were certificates and licenses and articles and history and notes from the ancestors in there. And it was beautiful. And there were some things in there that were not so beautiful. You know, I look at our history as a church. There are many, many beautiful things. And there are some things that are not so beautiful because we're human beings trying to figure it out. But there were stories in this Bible. This came from the Keller family. And that is the Irish part of my upbringing, my grandmother on my mother's side. Lots of stories in the Bible. Some of those stories were hard to hear. They weren't necessarily written down. But when I opened up the Bible, we began to share as a family like we have never shared before. You see, before love was a word and it was a closed book, just potential, my family decided, let's open it up. And the energy poured out, and there were a lot of skeletons there. Do we have skeletons in our Bible? Sure we do. But what happened was healing, because we sat and recognized that with all the imperfections of our family, with all the imperfections of this book, love was there. Twisted, warped, turned, I don't understand it, but love was there. And I'm going to share just a little bit about some of those stories from my family. This one and the one that's about this big. Let me tell you, try to get that in the overhead compartment on an airplane, especially when it's falling apart and brown. I want to talk just briefly about the characters, the apostles in this book, the characters in this book and the characters that live in me. This book begins with Adam and Eve consciousness. Adam and Eve consciousness. What is the dominant energy there? Life happens to me. I am a victim of everything that's going on. What's the first thing that happens when God, supposedly, metaphorically, goes to Adam and says, why did you eat of the tree of knowledge? It's her fault, not my fault. It's all her. And ladies, you think you're off the hook, but what did Eve do when God goes to, metaphorically, to Eve? Why did you eat of the tree of knowledge? The devil made me do it. Let me blame the serpent. There's all kinds of blame. This is a consciousness of life happens to me. And considering that idea, there needs to be a call for evolution. But there are family members that I spent time with energetically, because most of them have passed, that were hungry for knowledge. I come from a long line of professors that don't get what I do. And I sat at the feet of my father sharing stories that my uncle's love for knowledge, for wisdom, a grandmother's definition of you're only valuable if you have a degree on a wall. You're only valuable if you thirst for knowledge and you're permanently a student. And I watched my father demonstrate a less than attitude. He was hurt by a thirst for knowledge. He was a victim of his life. And it broke my heart. And I worked diligently to let my father know, you are loved, Dad. And let me tell you how you've shown up on the planet. He couldn't hear it. He couldn't take it in because of a family skeleton. That was a divine idea of a thirst for knowledge. Is that thirst for knowledge good or bad? It's neither. It was a place of love looking for expression in degrees on a piece of paper and on a wall. So I can judge as it's good or bad, or I can go, wow, love was hungry for wisdom. And I am the beneficiary of those people that demonstrated love by finding more information. Now in the Bible, we have an evolutionary consciousness. Moses shows up on the scene. Moses, we've gone from life happens to me to life now happens by me. By me. I'm going to make it happen. How many know what happened to Moses? Did he make it to the promised land? He didn't make it. It's me, myself, and I. I'm relying completely and totally on myself, my intellect, my body, me. There is no God involved in the equation, and you don't make it to the promised land. The Keller family and the Buck family showed their love through hard work. Hard labor. They did everything they could through physical labor. And I grieve today that both my grandfathers died before I was 12 years old because they worked themselves into an early grave. I can grieve that, and I will grieve that. I can be upset about that. I watched my mother, who inherited that same kind of idea from the Buck and the Keller family, be a servant to the world, a woman who never sits down. And I found myself in a place of resentment because I was in the world of effects. What I saw when I tried to take that away from my mother, she got upset. You're taking away my ability to love. This is how I show love. So in the world of effects, it looks like a slave to the rest of the household. At the level of love, it was an exchange of love. And everything changed in the environment when I saw it differently. Listened for the love. I looked for the love and suspended my judgment of my mother, the Kellers, the Bucks, the rest of my family. There was more love, and there was a healing that happened. Now in the Bible, we have the story. We go from life happens to me to life happens by me, and John the Baptist comes on in the later pages. Life happens through me. Through me. Oh, an awareness. That did happen in my family as well. I always talk about them being atheists, but I've never shared much about my Aunt Sally. She's a John the Baptist. She is the rabid, Orthodox Christian, black sheep, if you will, in the family. My Aunt Sally had a thirst of knowing there was something greater than the wisdom and the hard work. There was a power and a presence that wanted expression, and she found Jesus. And she came to life. And she did have hard work and study that she put to play going around the country building Habitat for Humanity houses, her and my Uncle Don. My Aunt Sally drives my family nuts because she is constantly in our face preaching. In fact, she said, in no uncertain terms, there's a very special place in hell for me because I have led you all astray. That could really piss you off. And what I saw, and I was able to write a note to my Aunt Sally, and she's still living. She's part of the family Bible. She cares so much about my soul that the love that she has for my soul and my spirit is so strong that she would have the guts to say something like that. I can judge or I can heal, and I can meet my Aunt Sally at the level of love. And now there's a greater love between us. We're still working on my dad and my Aunt Sally finding that love. But the reality is I needed to listen deeper. I needed to look deeper. And we as a community, we need to look different. Has there been moments in this church where wisdom was why we were here in the room, to learn, to grow, to expand our intellect? Yes. And it was coming from a place of love, of knowledge. This temple that we call Unity North is the demonstration of love, of hard work. Hard work, it only stands here because of the sweat equity of people who put their body, their mind, their heart, and their soul behind us having a building. Behind us being here today. That was love as well, hard work and intellect. Is there a quest and a thirst in this community to know something greater than our individual opinions and our individual judgments and our individual decisions? God, I hope so. My Aunt Sally found a joy the rest of the family never had. I want to find that joy even in our disagreement. She found it, but I want to go a step further. We're going to go through the Bible. I know Sarah's having a tough time following me today, but I'm moving. We get to Christ consciousness, Adam and Eve consciousness, Moses consciousness, John the Baptist consciousness, and Christ consciousness. Life happens as me. I am the living, veritable, vibrating center of love, and that's what I will be. This was our master teacher, the foundation, taught us to do, to be, to live. What did he say? I'm going to put the scripture up there. This was when he was asked, what are the greatest commandments? What are the greatest commandments? Do we have a slide that says this? No? There it is. Let's read it together. Love God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And I was a stutterer when I wrote that. And. Let's continue. Love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. No commandment greater than these. When I look at the skeletons in my family, my dad, the Kellers, my mom, Aunt Sally, and a host of others. Some I won't ever talk about. I am the beneficiary of love, whether I agreed with what they did or didn't do. Where we sit today, masks on, in a room, trying to find our way through the darkness, at home with a mask off, trying to find your way through a very sterile environment. I know sometimes this doesn't feel perfect, but love is why we do it. Love is why we're here. The rest is detail and gets in the way. Love is why Jacinta's sitting there right now holding sacred space for you, because she loves you. That's why she's in service, through her intellect, through her hard work and putting herself into the room, through the joy, and through the awareness that she sees you the way you are, as the Christ would see you. Because she's listening more deeply for the love. She's looking more deeply for the love. That's what we are called to do. And so I'm going to invite the band to come up to the platform here. You know what Jesus said, love God with all your heart and love yourself. Life happens by me. Our mission statement is basically that right there. Life happens as me, as me. I'm sure you know the mission statement of our community, right? I'm sure you've committed it to heart. To recognize, to demonstrate, and to share the divinity of each of us, of all of us. That mission statement, which I didn't resonate when we first came out with it, gets deeper and deeper and deeper for me. And the farther we got into the quarantine, the political debate, the farther we got into our arguments, the more that mission statement meant everything to me. I recognize you as the Christ. I want to demonstrate that I can love you and you can love me beyond our disagreements. With all the skeletons that we are dealing with, and there are skeletons sitting in the room, I want to share love. That's why I'm here. As we prepare to go into a place of meditation, I'm going to ask each of you, are you willing to make the journey of evolutionary consciousness just like the Bible? The skeletons in the Bible, the skeletons in the family, the skeletons in the church. Are you willing to make that journey and commit to staying awake to the love that you are? The love that everybody in this room and in that room is. And to knowing that love as the skeletons in our collective Bible, past, present, and future. I'll leave you with a poem. A voice asked, who or what is love? The pine trees sighed softly, I am. Deep in the jungle of grass and weeds, a tiny ant paused and declared, I am. From a million light years away, the burning answer of a star came, I am. A turtle poked his head out of his shell and said, I didn't understand the question. Who or what is love? The voice repeated. Oh, said the turtle, tucking his head back into his shell. I am. And a voice asked, who is love? And the ocean roared, I am. The trees softly swayed, I am. A little newborn child cried, I am. A yogi high in the Himalayan mountain caves chanted, I am. And then a voice said, will the real love please stand up? And the entire universe quietly stood up. This is why we are here. And the entire universe quietly stood up. Let's metaphorically, not physically, stand up, because love was there before love was an action. Love was there before love was a word or a sermon or a song. I'm going to invite you to take a breath with me. Cherish that breath, even through a mask. Cherish the love, even through opinion. We sing the words, I am divine. God lives in me as me. Claim your divinity and stand up with the entire universe as we sing into our meditation. God lives in you. God lives in me. Together, I am divine. God lives in me. as me, and I can view life differently. We all are one, and we are free right now. God lives in you. God lives in me. I invite you to place your hand upon your heart. Know yourself as love. I am divine. God lives in me as me, and I can view life differently. We all are one, and we are free right now. God lives in you. God lives in me. We're going to do something a little different today. I changed that last line to God lives as me. Before love was ever prayed or meditated upon, it was there. Before a Bible was ever written, there was love. Before any skeleton reared their head, before any apostle ever preached, before any spiritual community ever found its way home, love was a divine essence. And so let's just sit for the next 3 minutes in complete and total silence and let love have its way with this church, the divine idea of Unity North, the divine idea of you in the silence. Let's continue in the silence, but I invite you to invite into this moment and this space the mamas and the papas, the Aunt Sallys, the Kellers and the Bucks of your life. To invite the skeletons of the past, the present, and the future into that silence of love with you. Love was there before love was a word. And so it is. And so we will let it be. Amen. Julie, are you doing the offering? Okay, all yours.
How was that silence? Did your mind go crazy for a second? I employed the word grace, which I talked about a few weeks ago, and I felt it settle, and I could feel the love when the mind finally stopped. So this is the time in our service for our offering, and we are just so grateful that this community has continued to support us financially, as always. And so there are many ways you can do that. We want to thank you online as well. Many of you are online, and so we have not forgotten about the people that are still there. We feel your energy. You are as much a part of us, whether you're in the room or over the waves, and so we are grateful. So there are a few ways you can give. We do have baskets on your way out. We can take checks and cash and love. You can drop it off Monday through Thursday in our office and say hi to us. Of course, mail it. And then you can text to give. So it's a very easy process. Just text your Unity North and the amount. So follow those instructions. And then I believe there's a PayPal donation button as well. So I invite you, we've been getting back into really taking our offering, whether we have it in our hand or we have it in our heart, and affirming that and infusing that energy of that abundance that we each have. And so I invite you, we're to say our offering blessing as we hold that space in our heart and that offering in our heart. I am so blessed. I am so prosperous. And it is my great pleasure to share in my prosperity and to share in my blessings. And in the giving, the entire world is blessed. Thank you, God. Amen. Are you going to introduce Will?
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to invite you to go through the pages inside yourself, all the certificates and letters and notes and articles about the skeletons in the Bible, and let them out. This is a safe place to let the skeletons in the Bible out. This song was written by Will Hodge, and I hope you'll do it again Friday because that's one of my favorites.
Well, I have to tell you, when I wrote Before Love Was a Word and Skeletons in the Bible, I had no idea this genius over here would do a talk on it. So just give him a hand for that, waving that in. How in the world he did that, that just amazes me. I'd also like to take just a second to thank Unity North for letting us play during COVID. That's a big deal for us because we didn't get to play anywhere. And we were streaming since February, was it? Since February we came in and played. And that's big magic for us. So we really enjoyed that. And it's great to have y'all back. We played to nobody. There was no one here at all. Sort of like our gigs, so it was, we were kind of used to it, in a way. And we got to do some good stuff. I want to thank Ryan for helping me write our song Together in Unity. He and I got together. Yvonne Shells called me and said, we need a song. And so we were able to do that. I want to thank him for doing that. And thank the band, because we had a hard time with that. All right, this is my version of Skeletons in the Bible. Richard did. Grandma had a Bible all her own. She kept it on the shelf above the stove. She told us kids to leave it be, but kids in curiosity, I knocked it down with my fishing pole. And it rained down paper from the pages of our family history. Right there in black and white from the Carolina Times on the floor, staring back at me. Hidden there between the disciples, I found my family skeletons in the Bible. Grandpa went to jail for running shine, along with Cousin Jack and Uncle Mike. But then there was that picture of Aunt Peggy with that preacher at the motel across the county line. And it was saved on paper from the pages of our family history.
disciples. I found my family skeletons in the Bible. She thought they'd be forgiven for the way today was living, so she hid them there between Mark and Luke. Every family's got them, little secrets from the bottom of the barrel of the cold hard truth. And it was plain on paper from the pages of our family history, right there in black and white from the Carolina Times on the floor, staring back at me, hidden there between the disciples. I found my family skeletons in the Bible. Grandma had a Bible all her own, and to this day it remains closed.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Come to Songfest, please. We appreciate you. It's
This Friday. The songs like that, but let's keep the Bible open. Let's join our hands. If you feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable, put up like that and send the energy, but up on your feet. We're going to close with Let There Be Peace on Earth. And I want to invite you just to change based on the talk today. Every time it says peace, say love. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. Let us raise our voices like we have never sung before, whether we be here or online. Let us be the change we want to see. Let us know that life lives and expresses as each and every one of us. You are the divine idea of love. Love on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth. Let there be love on earth, the love that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let love begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in love, love eternally. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
Wherever I am, love is. Love is. That's the truth of you, who you are. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, please join Richard in that room for coffee. Go to the information booth, and yes, go down to Holy Grounds, where you will be able to have fellowship and coffee. Thanks, and have a great week.